Right then, I've been using the Hikmicro Alpex 4K Lite for 3 or 4 months now. As I've said in previous videos, this is the latest development of the tried and tested Hikmicro Alpex 4K, and this one is geared more towards airgun use. Now that I've had time to really get to grips with it, I thought I'd report back with something of a long-term test and also show you how it compares with the Alpex 4K and traditional telescopic sights. But in short though, I've been really impressed with it. Expanding on the two Alpex models, I would describe the 4K Lite as the compact, fast handling agility model. It is perfect for airgun shooters who want something more streamlined, either for covering lots of ground when stalking rabbits or in confined conditions, maybe in a hide or controlling rats around farm buildings. The standard 4K is the one to choose for significantly longer range work. Both of them are serious pieces of kit, and it's about matching them to the correct application. Focusing on the standard 4K, I would say it is more suited to rifle shooting. Its ultra high resolution, backed up by a 50mm lens, really lends it to tackling longer targets, especially at dawn and dusk. I know several professional fox shooters and deer stalkers who use the standard Alpex 4K and wouldn't be without it because it offers clear identification and very precise, humane shot placement even at extreme range. That said, it is a brilliant all-rounder, day and night and at any distance, and you can still utilise that precision at closer ranges. I have already done a detailed review, but before we get into the comparisons, I will just give you a quick overview of the Alpex 4K Lite. So it's a digital day and night scope, and it produces a full colour image by day and in twilight, and a sharp monochrome infrared image at night. As you can see, it's shaped and proportioned very much like a traditional scope, and the main advancement with this latest model is that it's smaller and lighter. This is the LRF model, so it has a laser rangefinder and ballistic calculator, and that means that it can give you a precise aiming solution whatever distance you're shooting over. Now it is packed with features, far too many to go through here, but to list just a few, it's got a gyroscope to prevent you from having accuracy problems through canting the gun, and it's also got push button video recording direct to onboard memory. You can also save numerous zero and ballistic profiles and take advantage of all the benefits of the Hikmicro sight app. Do have a look at our previous review if you want to see all of the features, but what I will say here is that despite all of that technology and its brilliant image quality, it is very, very simple to operate. Now it's also very sensibly priced. This laser rangefinder model retails for £649.99. As I said previously, this is a compact digital sight. It weighs less than 500 grams, whereas the standard Alpex 4K is about twice the weight at around a kilo. So the standard Alpex 4K is also longer, measuring about 39 centimeters without its rubber eye cup fitted, whereas the Alpex 4K Lite is about 29 centimeters long. I have actually found the 4K Lite to be a little bit easier to operate than the standard 4K. And I really like the fact that rather than having some of the controls on the ocular bell, they are all on that top turret. Now, it's just a small thing, but I find these controls easier to locate and easier to distinguish, and that makes for much more straightforward operation, particularly in the dark. Right then, so let's take a look at performance in full daylight. So the first clip here shows the standard Alpex 4K shooting in full daylight, and I have to say that that image quality looks very, very good to me. So moving on, we were looking through the Alpex 4K Lite. Now, You can never really guarantee that light levels will be exactly the same, but I've got to say that that still looks like a very clear, bright image to me. Moving into lower light, leaning towards twilight. So first up, we'll take a look at what the standard Alpex 4K can do. And remember, the light is fading here, so this will be looking pretty gloomy through a standard, traditional telescopic sight. So, next up, we've got the Alpex 4K Lite. And again, it's doing a brilliant job of enhancing that low light image. What's more, because of that ballistic calculator, it's also giving me a precise aiming solution. And finally at night, and it's worth remembering that image quality and detection range will be influenced by your choice of IR torch. Now, I'm using pretty standard kit here. From memory, I think I was using the Brynite Artemis. So first up with the standard Alpex 4K, and as you can see, that is a pin sharp infrared image with lots of detail. So moving on again to the Alpex 4K Lite, and once more, it's a very clear, sharp infrared image, which is lamp free for stealthy nighttime hunting. In all honesty, both versions of the Hikmicro Alpex featured here are brilliant digital day and night scopes. Now, I would say that the standard Alpex 4K wins out on long range performance, whereas the 4K Lite is a more compact option that's better suited to shooting over airgun ranges. It's about choosing the right kit for the job. Now, where the 4K Lite really scores over different brands of digital optic at a similar price point would be its list of features, its optical quality, and its ease of operation. Now, as I've said, it's also very compact, and I really like the fact that it's got a 30mm tube that enables me to use normal scope mounts. As for comparing image quality with other brands, this is a daytime clip shot through the original DNT Zulus. Obviously, light levels could well be very different, so I'm not looking to judge, but this is daytime footage showing a grey squirrel through the 4K Lite at similar range. Next up, we're ratting with the Zulus, and here it is in fading light conditions, picking off the farmyard pests at dusk. And here is the 4K Lite in gloomy conditions. Again, I can't say it's exactly the same light levels, but it gives you a comparison. Finally, over to nighttime, and through the Zulus, here we see a rat out scavenging on the farm in total darkness. Over to the nighttime view through the 4K Lite. We're inside a barn this time, but again, we're in total darkness, save for the IR. Right then, so let's move on to comparing the Hikmicro Alpex 4K Lite with traditional telescopic sights. So I've used several different scopes to show and record the footage that we're looking at here. What I would say is that it's a pretty fair representation of what you would see through them, with the caveat that there is some loss of image quality owing to the fact that I've had to use an external camera because they don't offer you the internal recording option that you would get with a digital scope. So before we start looking at that footage, let's have a quick size comparison. What we're looking at here is the 4K Lite alongside some of the scopes that I've been using recently, and you will see that it compares very favourably, especially when you consider that its rubber eye cup adds to its length. So let's kick off with a recording shot through a traditional telescopic sight. It's a view that I'm sure a lot of us will be very familiar with, and the sort of image quality that is regarded as the general benchmark. So moving on to the Alpex 4K Lite in similar conditions, and you can see that it's bright and clear, plus I've got the added advantage of that ballistic calculator offering me a very precise aiming point. Moving on to low light conditions, and we're inside a barn where rats are causing problems. Now, first up, we're looking through a traditional telescopic sight. Now this is a gloomy barn, but it's an acceptable sight picture and it results in a dead rat. So next up, we've got the Alpex 4K Lite. It's looking brighter and clearer. And on top of that, I've got those added advantages of the ballistic calculator and the gauge of that gyroscope, ensuring that I'm not canting the gun. That was shadowy indoor conditions. Let's move outdoors to shooting in twilight. So first up, we've got the traditional telescopic sight. Now image quality is reasonable, but you can see that the light is fading. So on to the Alpex 4K Lite, and the tech inside this scope is actually making it look lighter than the ambient light conditions. So I've got a clear, bright sight picture, which makes for a really straightforward shot. What about total darkness? Well, you can use a traditional telescopic sight with a lamp. Now I will say that the image quality was better looking through the scope than it appears through the camera, but it wasn't brilliant, and obviously the lamplight is going to put rats on edge. So moving across to the Alpex 4K Lite, and the image quality is excellent, and that is on top of all of the features that I've already mentioned. Plus, this is stealthy, lamp-free hunting without light to spook your quarry. So that is an overview of some of my experiences with the Hikmicro Alpex 4K Lite over recent months, and some comparisons of how it stacks up against some of the other options out there. I think it is a very good digital day and night scope at a really competitive price. As I always say, if you do get the opportunity, pick one up and take a look through it for yourself. I think you'll be very impressed with this one.